So right now we are in our permanent plot number 21, down here on what we call Trail A at Woodlands Trail, and a big, large tree. Don't know what it. Can't remember what it was exactly, but probably something like a big red maple or so, right there, snapped and came down. So this is a little micro example of what really happened in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. So this whole region of Louisiana, was the bottomland hardwood forests were severely damaged and crew cut. The tops of the trees were snapped and branches removed. So we had a lot of downed material. And so just like this happened here. So this big tree's down, and all of this, if we back off here for a sec, all of this stuff that's up here, all of this this giant sea of blackberry, it's growing on the dead skeleton of the branches and trunk, etc., of this tree. So this blackberry has formed almost a monoculture in terms of the vegetation here, and is really dominating the dynamics here. Now, most of our traditional trees that we see in this type of community have a hard time getting through that, right? And that's fine. They'll just hang out for a few years and wait for stuff to die back, or a bad year for the blackberry, what have you. But in the meantime, what we're seeing is lots of the guys we don't want, such as this guy, this tallow. So tallow, one of our most problematic invaders, grows much different, has a much different growth morph than our traditional bottomland hardwood forest trees that are more sort of eastern deciduous type of trees. Strong, slow growing, big hulking trees. These guys are very sort of frilly and very quick growing and very much sort of up down. So those guys are around, and we see a lot in this plot this year. We've seen a lot of baby tallow, and so they're popping up through this canopy or in little teeny gaps, or they're able to needle pop through and then throw their leaves over and grow. And so this is a nice example of what we think happened for the first couple years post Katrina, that the invaders were relatively kept in check by all of these this sea of blackberry, which is a mix of native and exotic, and sort of a hybrid swarm of all these different complexes of rubus and blackberry. So a nice visual example of how hard it was during the first few years to just physically get through to sites to do the surveys, and secondarily how much we feared that we would lose this forest. So we've been doing control measures for the last many years, and Woodlands Conservancy is doing a ton of of invasive suppression to try to make sure that when these events happen, we knock the bad guys down for enough time that it gives an opportunity for the desirous species, the species that should be here, to get taller and bigger and be able to have a chance at competing and doing their do just like this giant cypress that's still here in the middle of this plot. Should have a lot of brothers and sisters all around him. He's looking fairly lonely at this point. So our goal is to have this guy have a huge number of offspring, siblings, relations all around him. So this is a good example of an area that we haven't done much control on. All this very up and down, stemmy, very thin, reedy sea of tallow that again is a very different growth morphology than our typical bottomland hardwood forest communities here.